Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin from Florals.com and today I'm sharing with you another technique that I'm posting for the Scrapbook Blessings Club. So if you want to get more details, I'll have a link to their blog with my blog post featuring all the things you need to know about this project. Now today I'm featuring a technique. I'm not going to make a card out of this exactly. If I do, I might post it on Instagram, which you'll also be able to find in the description. But as of right now, I'm just showing you this technique. And then if a card comes out of it, it does, which it probably will. But some of you have probably already seen this, but there's a trend going around to use Crayola markers, specifically the fine line ones for watercoloring. Now, I saw this and I was like, it doesn't sound real, it looks too easy, but I decided to go through our school supplies and pull out these markers. I'm going to set these aside while I am stamping, but essentially you just use the marker as the pigment for your watercoloring. So first I picked out this stamp set from Martha Stewart, really old stamp set actually. I believe it was available at Walmart perhaps, maybe it was Michael's, I'm not sure. But I'm going to use a waterproof ink. Today I'm using StazOn. There's several inks you can choose for this project, and of course I'm using my stamping tool because one, I don't have a block large enough at the moment to fit this butterfly. And also because I don't do great stamping. Usually the first time's the worst time. So I'm just going to, maybe I'll do stamp 2 butterflies, just so we can do some different color schemes. Or in case I mess up, because this is, I've never had that happen before. Let's try that again. I've never used this stamp set with this press before. This is so weird. This is so weird. I guess I'm just going to try to peel it up and then grab it with this. I don't understand. Here, maybe if I flip it this way. This is the weirdest thing that's ever happened with this tool. I know the stamps are sticky, but that's odd. Well, I guess we're going to have to do this a different way, which is going to be a lot harder. Just going to grab it by the edges and try to line this up. That does not look lined up, but we'll try it anyway. Okay, I've decided that we're going to try the other side with a smaller stamp. Even though I really wanted to do that butterfly, it's okay. We'll try a different butterfly. Actually, maybe it's just because like this one's not sticky at all. Okay, we're moving on to a different stamp. I do have a little floral set here we can try. This stamp set's actually from the dollar store. Very cost effective. It's small, but we can get a lot of flowers stamped at once. And I can zoom in when I do the coloring so you guys can see it better. For a live video, this is not going well so far. Okay, so we're just going to line 3 of those up, put my magnets in place, and again, make sure you use a waterproof ink because we will be watercoloring. As you can see, I already have my water brush out. Ta-da! I do remember I have used these ones with the stamping tool before, but they are shallow stamps, like they're not as thick as a normal acrylic stamp, which is odd, but I'm making it work. I also think my StazOn needs to be re-inked, which I've never done before, so I should probably do that soon. Good. Now we have some stuff to work with. I'm gonna close that up, put this in there too. Have to take care of this later. Hopefully you can't see my mess all about here. So I think we're going to start with, so I have the classic fine line set, the classic broadline set, and then the assorted broadline set. And this has some very beautiful colors. So we're going to use this one. I don't know if this color range is still available. So there's teal, primrose, tropical violet, laser lemon, infrared, hot pink, electric lime, blue lagoon, seafoam green, and battery charged blue. So really pigmented colors. I want to go with the pinks for my fish flower. Oh, okay. Okay. we'll just dump them all out. There, now you can see the colors. I know these aren't exactly the right colors because I think one got put in here that doesn't go in here. Yeah, the pink does not go in here because I know that the light purple's in here. When I dumped them all out the other day to try this out, it got a little mixed up. So we're going to do some pink and red, I think. I'll do some trial runs over here so you guys can see what I'm talking about, but you're just going to want to have a water brush with water inside of it, and it doesn't really matter what you do first. I'm going to start with the light one. I just want to show you guys how they blend first. So essentially I'm just going to do that, scribble a little bit of color down, and I always work light to dark because that's the way I roll. Just want to make sure my water's flowing out here. Okay. And essentially you just go like this, you rub it around. Actually, my water might be dirty. Some of the lighter colors don't move as well as the darker colors. This is acting, maybe I'm not, is this not the right paper? I just grabbed a scrap because I wasn't sure which paper I wanted to use right off the bat, but I think the thing you have to be wary about here, oh, you know what? I should be using watercolor paper. That's what gave me great results last time. We're going to scratch this. I highly recommend that you use watercolor paper with this technique. As you can see, I already have pilling here, which explains that why it wasn't moving, because it immediately soaked up the marker like a paper would. But if you were to use watercolor paper, which I have right here, and just do a quick stamp of anything you'd like, so I'll grab my flowers back here, you'll have much better results. I'm just going to use my block because that's easier. And I also managed to stain my block a lot, so I need to clean that as well. So again, stays on ink. I do only have, this is like a cheaper watercolor paper, but it is textured as well, which is important to note, I think. Well, that didn't work out either. And it's wet. This is not a great tutorial. Good enough. So, you usually want to use your stamping tool to get better impressions, but since mine is not functioning properly, and that I have water everywhere now, I will now demonstrate. So again, you're going to add pink and red. So for this technique, again, vital to use watercolor paper or mixed media paper or something of that sort. You can see that moves much more easily on this paper. Ta-da! Not the best at blending the colors together, but I mean it does. It just overtakes the pink, I think. So we're going to color some roses. We'll call them roses. So I believe, I'm trying to think of what a rose looks like. I don't know if it's lighter, I think it's usually all one color, but we're just gonna add some color, not in anywhere specific, just like a couple lines around. This is gonna be like a ombre rose. Not that that's a thing, but if it were. So I'm not really tracing lines or anything, I just want a quick technique here, a demonstration. And starting, I'm going to go in the same motion as I did the marker streaks, just so I can keep the color in that flow. Just kind of want to blend them out, and then it creates a subtle look. And you don't even need that much water to move them. It's honestly just like moving it back and forth that you really need to do. Let's zoom in so you guys can see it better. Refocus. Perfect. So as you can see, you don't need to do much to get a lot out of it. So I'm just going to clean off my brush. Really easy to do that as well. And now we can move on to purple. Sure, we'll do purple. So we'll do this flower here, but basically you can just do like, if you guys have seen, I'm trying to think of what's similar. There's a lot of coloring techniques that are similar to this. So pick your favorite and try it out. Markers are inexpensive and so are water brushes, so It's a nice way to start out and practicing your blending or coloring techniques. So I'm just pulling the color out from the inside and then blending it with the outer color, as you can see here. So if we just continue doing that around, you'll see that it has a, make sure you clean off your brush if you're going from a dark to a light color. But if we keep starting this technique around the entire flower, you'll end up with something that kind of looks like a hibiscus, if I'm remembering what a hibiscus is correctly. I think that's the, I would call it a Hawaiian flower, but I know that's not probably it's what it's actually known for. But then you get this nice gradient look without a lot of work. And I find that since you control where the color goes at first, it's a lot easier to control where it goes later, at least in my opinion. So now I'll show you something with just one color. So we'll go with, I do find that, I want to say this too, like if you use a dark teal, this is the teal marker in case you're wondering. Let me just clean up my brush. If you were to use this, it's almost a completely different color, I think, than what you originally started with. Like, look how beautiful this cascade is of color. You can just pull it out and keep watering it down, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So we're going to try a similar technique. It's really hard to show you on smaller images, but since my butterfly example kind of didn't work, we're just going to dive in with these flowers. So I'm trying to think of some other tips I wanted to give you guys. You could do a lot of other things. I'm going to skip the flower for now, but another thing you can do is some dots. You can even do this with stripes too, but I'm just going to show you with dots. So what you essentially do is make sure you have a lot of water in your water brush, because you're essentially going to start moving the color and then you just drop a lot of water on it so it disperses. But if you put the marker down too early and don't like move where you put the pigment down, it will stain like that, so that's important to note as well. So make sure you're careful with how you put down the marker, because if you were to write a word and you wanted to blend it out, so for example if I wrote hi in cursive and you're like, oh, I want to make it look like scripty, whatever, and you went over it, you slowly find that it becomes a blob. But you can also see the original lines, so you really need to get in there with your brush and scrape where you put the pigment down, I guess. You can still barely see it. I doubt it's picking it up on camera, but I can still see the I and the H in real life, but just so you guys know that. So definitely be wary of where you put the marker down and how hard you put it down, because if you put down too much pigment, I found, especially with the black, actually I'll show you with the black and the brown colors, they almost turned into something completely different. So for example, put some black down. Now that was heavy streaks of black, like you can see that it's shiny in real life. And I put down some water because this is gonna be bad for my brush. And I pull it out. That's blue or gray now. You know what I mean? So watercoloring with the black, not the best option. Would not recommend. I'd recommend you stick with regular watercolor for that, but I also find that you get a bluish or greenish tint when you use gray as well. So important to note that. So if we want to move back to our last flower technique, as I'm going to call it, but really it's not a technique at all. We're going to try out here. Let's go back to the original colors, because that's, I'm sure, what a lot of people have in their house. Let's check these out. Let's try orange. I actually have not tried orange. Well, let's not even try the thick markers. Let's just jump into the original fine line. I don't know why they recommend fine line in the other videos. The broad markers are just the same, just a broader tip. So I guess it depends on what image you're coloring for what you want to use. But I'm going to do, let's do heavy orange on the outside and then fade it in the middle. So I'm just going to scribble it down, just putting it along the edge. I'm kind of doing a scribbly look, so it gets a softer blend out. I'm just going to do the outside petals, because I think I might want to do yellow on the inside petals, but make sure your water brush is clean. I'm just going to start moving the color. So as you can see, I didn't put that much marker down, or I wouldn't consider it a lot of marker. But as soon as you touch it with the water brush, you'll see that it disperses very easily, and really just eats up this image. Like it's all one color now. All of these petals are the same color, full on. There's no ombreing or anything. So these markers really do pack a punch. I'm really impressed with high quality pigment they are. I will say this though, they take a while to dry. I don't know if it's just because I use a lot of water, but like this teal part's still a little bit wet to me. Like you can't cut anything out of that, it'll rip instead. This part's wet, but I did add a lot of water. The black's very wet, even though it doesn't look wet. And this orange obviously is very wet. The pink, wouldn't cut that, it's still drying, and the purple is the same. But as you can see, the orange is very wet, so let's try adding a little bit of yellow. What I do not recommend is trying to watercolor another color. Sorry about that, my camera memory ran out. So essentially what I was saying is I was putting yellow into the middle center petals here. And the orange on the outside, since it was still wet, seeped quickly into the yellow section. So make sure that when you're using multiple colors among the same image, make sure to let each little section dry completely. Because even if it's dry, so this pink from the very beginning should be dry, right? But if I'm watercoloring next to it, pretend this is a different color. And pretend there's water coming out of it. Okay, there we go. So I'm just watercoloring and I accidentally clip it. It takes it a while to start picking up again, to move. So there's a very, like you can barely see it, but there. So it takes a while to pick it up to move once it is dry. So I highly recommend that you do it when you're watercoloring a multi-colored piece. Make sure you let it dry. However, if you want to do something like this card here, this is on my blog, you can find it at grayflorals.com. You will see that I did an ombre look where I didn't let the colors dry and let them seep into each other. Really cool technique. Definitely recommend this with the markers. You can get some beautiful backgrounds with these easily, just using a lot of water. These were done on watercolor papers to get the best results. I, however, did another card where I had multiple parts, but it was on an animal. So I was watercoloring these puppers, these little dogs, and I found that if I tried to color their collar in blue while the brown of their coat was still drying, it made a muddy mess. So definitely be wary of that. You can move color once it is dry. It's hard, but you can. So that's fun. I haven't tried playing around with like adding water on top of wet. So like if I were to take this and then spray that blue and then pat it up, would it do anything? Might as well try a live demo here. I don't even know where that sprayed really, but we'll just pick it up. So like as a distressing, that's a really cool technique, but the watercolor doesn't do a whole lot. It does let the water run, or the color run more easily, so that's a great idea for these. But honestly, I was very impressed by all of the Crayola markers. I'll show you like all the colors here. There's definitely more colors available. They might be more expensive than like the back to school packs that are out right now, but there are a lot of back to school packs on sale right now. So you can see some of the colors here. Like I said, the, what's it called? Not the classic colors, but the alternative colors or whatever they're called are definitely my favorites. But that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial that I made. It wasn't super in-depth and it wasn't super put together well, but I hope the editing of this video made it a little bit better due to all the technical difficulties. And if you want more details, please check out the Scrapbook Blessings Club blog. I'll have everything on their blog about this, and I'll even include some pictures of my other examples using these markers. Let me know if you guys try this technique in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you thought it turned out. I've seen a lot of people do watercolor flowers with these. I wanted to do butterflies, but that wasn't going to work out, and I wanted to do flowers on video as well, but I only could find these tiny flowers. But until then, I hope you guys subscribe so you can find my next video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!